Welcome back to Forgotten Working Class Podcast. I am Tiffany.
I'm John.
Today we have with us a very special guest, Brian. You can find Brian all over the internet. We'll start with TikTok at Brian_is_inked. Also his podcast, Brothers Keeper, and at bluecollarstandardco.com with his very own blue collar apparel line. Brian, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you guys for having me this morning.
Where are you calling from?
Houston.
Texas.
Yes.
Very nice. How old are you?
I'll be 39 December, day after Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Are you in a relationship? Do you have any children?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a girlfriend. Her name's Courtney. And then I have two boys. One's 11. His name's Jagger. And I have a 4-year-old named Memphis.
Okay. So you have your hands full too.
Oh, yeah.
Boys, yeah.
3 dogs that are like kids, too, that are circling my room right now.
They have some awesome names, though. Memphis and Jagger, you said?
Yeah, I try to set them up for success.
Very cool. Very cool.
I like it.
So what do you do for work, Brian?
I'm an oil field consultant. That's pretty much all I've done my entire life is oil field since I was 14. So basically what I do is I own kind of like an oil and gas consulting firm as well. As a consultant, we represent all your major oil and gas operators and oversee their operations. So anything from a drilling well site to a frac well or a completions well site, whatever, we are in charge of the entire process.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that only in Texas?
No, it's literally worldwide. Operators, what they do is they'll seek out personnel such as myself and hire us to come in and run the job. So, but yeah, it's a worldwide deal, not only just in Texas.
So do you travel a lot?
I do, man. Sometimes it's more than that. Depends if we have a lot going on, but my schedule should be 2 on, 2 off. But sometimes it varies. It depends if we have issues or something going on with extra activity that needs more attention or whatever. So, but for the most part, it's been 2 on, 2 off. Well, there was one time, I think like 2021, right after COVID, I was supposed to come home every 2 weeks, and I ended up being gone 340 days straight.
Oh my God.
Jeez, your poor boys.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Yeah,
That's rough.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like how long you've been doing it. It seems like easier, right? I think it gets harder.
Yeah, especially when you start to have a family.
Right.
And, you start to try to settle down. You can't because you're out doing this. You're over here.
Exactly. Like before I had a family and everything, man, I was always going overseas and everything because I took advantage of it.
Yeah.
Singapore for over a year, one time. But I mean, I've been all over the world, literally. But then once had kids and everything, I just kind of try to stay as close as I can now. And with everything on overseas now, it's not worth it.
Yeah, no. And times are changing. It's getting crazy everywhere.
Yeah. And speaking of families and such, like in this line of work, just like blue collar general or anything traveling, it seems like I always tell guys, I'll ask them if you got a family and kids. And if they say, yeah, I'm like, man, it's going to be rough. Because it's almost like you have to start this before you have that in order to succeed and make it. If not, it's going to be a rocky road,
Yeah.
Nobody can take it, So like, you need to get into like a relationship and have your kids after you're already established in this line of work. In my opinion, I mean, people could be, on it, but I mean, from what I've seen in the success rate, that's what it takes.
Well, no, you absolutely need a strong woman too behind you to handle everything while you're gone.
Oh yeah, because they're dealing with the house, the kids, everything else that you're not home to take care of. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, you'll see on our apparel line. Oh, sorry.
No, it's like you're a single parent for weeks at a time,
Yes. I mean, he never thankfully had to travel for work, but he was working crazy hours, 75, 80 hours a week. I mean, can't imagine what, your significant other has been through with you traveling.
And I think that it seems like that's normal to make it nowadays. Like if you're not working at least, I don't want to really put a number on it, but I mean, I would probably say at least 60 hours a week or more. You can't make it in these times, almost forced. Like you're just literally living to work just to make ends meet these days because everything's so expensive.
Yeah. that, and when you get over 60 hours, I don't know if the taxes are different in different states, but here in Florida, once you pass 60, it's either 60 or 65 hours, you're in that whole separate tax bracket now.
Yeah.
You're putting in these 85-hour weeks, and
For
you're like,
nothing.
hell yeah, you're bringing home like $3,000 a week. Well, then you get your paycheck, and they took like $1,500 out, and you're like, what
Oh,
happened? They're like, well, once you pass that bracket,
mm-hmm.
you get taxed more, and you're like, thanks.
Well,
Working more hours, and I get taxed more now.
right. And like for the last 12 years or so, I've been 1099, right? So it's like I'm self-employed, but if the IRS is watching, you just turn.
Just keep going. Just keep scrolling.
I have an S corp, which is basically like an LLC, and I run everything through that S corp. Well, my S corp doesn't pay tax, and then I pay myself out of that S corp like a set amount a year, like an annual salary, and that's all I can be taxed on. So everything else just sits in my business account over here. So like I try to give me the bare minimum out of that, and then anything I need from my business account or whatever, I'll try to make it look like a business expense or whatever, so that way I'm only paying the bare minimum.
Yeah. Smart. I mean, you have a family to provide for.
Yeah.
So do you have employees?
For me, so the way it really works for us, like as a firm, I will have some people under my firm, right? But like not a terrible lot. Because like I said, everyone that works, like say they work for Constance Oil and Gas Consulting LLC, which is my firm, right? They're all still responsible for all of their insurance and everything else. All they're using me for is pretty much as like a
Subcontractor.
billing purposes.
Yeah.
Right, whenever they work their hitch or whatever, or go do a job or whatever, they would send their invoice to me, and I'd be the one responsible for paying them.
Gotcha.
But they're representing the operator, like Chevron, Shell, Marathon, all those kind of companies.
It's wild.
Wow. How did you get into this?
For me as a consultant, I was invited. It's kind of like a community where you don't find these jobs on the internet. You just can't like go to Indeed and type in, consultant or whatever. It's somebody's got to invite you in the community. It's a very small knit group of people. But yeah, you just can't go in and pretty much get. I mean, there's people that's been got jobs like that before, but I mean, for the most part, someone's got to invite you in and know you.
Yeah, those are major contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because I mean, like I say, you're responsible for the entire well-being of that well site and the integrity of that well. Say Chevron, I've consulted for Chevron, so they expect you to represent them. Like if you hire a lawyer because you're in trouble, it's kind of like what it is, right? Like you're the face of that company, so you are Chevron, so you're making all the executive decisions with whether it be with budgeting, you got personnel, safety, the well itself, like everything, like you were in charge of that entire location from start to finish.
Are all your jobs on land or?
Right now, yeah. So like for the last, I'd say majority of the last 12 years, 11 years, it's been all land-based. Before that, I was offshore. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you worked offshore?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's my very first. Well, I started on land, like I say, before I turned 18, and then I went offshore.
Wow. Yeah. And how long were you offshore?
Oh gosh, all the way from, I'll probably say 2002 or 3, all the way to 2012.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So cool. We actually know somebody who works offshore right now, and it's just amazing what those guys do out there, away from weeks at a time.
Weeks at a time, and then he flies home, and then within like 2 days, he's like, "Oh, I have to go. They just called me."
Yeah.
Flies all the way wherever he's going. It's like, Jesus.
That's the way it works, man. One time I came in, I was working overseas. I'd literally just touched down, walking out to my truck, and my phone rang and had it. So it gets a little rough, man.
God.
Crazy.
Well, your job now, that's got to be like a lot of stress.
Man,
there's a lot of responsibility riding on you.
Yes, man. It is high stress, very, very, very high stress, because especially when things are like not going the way they should, right? And you're having to troubleshoot and figure things out, right? that's whenever it really, really gets stressful. Everybody wants to be company man until it's time to do company man shit, as we say, right? And they're like, in an office, but man, really, you're jammed up all day. I mean, but yeah, it's a lot of stress. I will just say that, man. I mean, there's times it's really, really easy and really great. And there's times that you just like, why did I take this spot?
So are you, pointing the finger, or are you actually doing the physical labor too?
I'm the same as everybody else out there. That's why I tell them, I don't tell them that you work for me, I work with you. We all work together. I mean, if something needs to get done and we need to put hands on it, we're all putting hands on it. I mean, like I say,
I'll tell you right now, you'll get the most respect right there out of any guys you work with. I've worked with a bunch of guys.
mm-hmm.
I've had a bunch of supervisors, and I've only had a couple supervisors. And one of them was in his 70s, and he'd get up there with you and swing that hammer all fucking day.
Yeah, exactly, man. It seems like those kind of like a dying breed, And
yeah.
I'm the same way though. Like you got to lead by example. They see you out there getting after it, they're going to get after it too, right? So that's the way I want to run my operation. I don't want everyone to think that it's just a one-sided deal, And it's like you get these kids that are like fresh out of school these days or whatever that have all these high-end degrees and stuff, and it's like, they won't put out. They'll just sit there and try to, be a dictator or whatever, and they don't even know what's going on because they don't ever seen this stuff before. They just go off the textbook.
Right, and that's our
I've had so many times with the engineers.
Well, I had a guy one time
over the phone. Oh yeah, just do this. No, it don't work like that. Well, no, it does. All right, well, you come here and you show me how to do it. Because it don't work like that.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen many of times, man. And then all of a sudden we're stuck or in a bind. Like,
yep,
told you. I had a kid one time, man, come out to location, and he was an intern or if he was an actual employee of the company. But I was like, hey man, like this is the way we do things out here. He goes, I didn't go to school to put my hands on stuff. I was like, you can get off my fucking location then.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. You're not better than us. Promise.
So that's the thing right now is, everybody who we've talked to for, the most part who are physically into blue collar right now working.
Yeah.
What is your advice for these younger kids who, just like you said, they're going to these trade schools and saying, they're out in the real world now and they don't want to put their hand on anything. They just, I guess, feel book smart,
I don't know. If you're going to go into this line of work, you can never tell me that you went to school and I'm not going to put my hands on anything.
Right.
Well, you shouldn't be in this fucking line of work. You should get out.
But you've worked with people like that also.
I have.
Oh yeah, man. It's every day. These kids want these high dollar paychecks, but they don't want to put the work in, right? And like a lot of guys I'll ask, like, where'd you come from? Like if you ever worked a hard dollar job a day in your life, and they're like, no. Like, or they'll come from, literally like being a school teacher out to being something, and I'm like, you've got a long road ahead of you, bud. If it starts raining or something, you're like, are we gonna take a break? Fuck no, we don't take fucking breaks because it's raining, huh?
Down here, you guys were working in hurricanes. Like right before the eye came, you got to go home. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like, hey, it's gonna get bad in like 10 minutes, so you guys can leave now. We're like, oh, all right, cool.
That's why it was offshore when a hurricane would come, and this is before they really had dynamic positioning rigs, which is like a dynamic rig is like one that actually has like thrusters on it and you can actually drive and move the rig, right? And then like before they were all like either like for me it was deep water, so you were moored base, right? So you're anchored down to the ocean floor and you didn't have time to get out. You had time to pull your BHA and your drill string up or whatever you had down hole and get off the rig. But there's times, man, where you didn't make it. You just had to like hunker down and bear it out.
That's crazy. What was your position on the rig?
I worked all the way from, I was a floor hand, a roustabout actually, which is like the very, very bottom. That's offshore, right? Like you're like the grunt, like you do everything that nobody wants to do, basically. Like you are the bitch. And then I worked my way all the way to the top. And then after that, I got good with the company man or the consultant on that rig after, a good while, and he could trust me. And that's when I got invited to being a consultant.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, grunt life is
but
legit. It'll either make you or break you right there. That's what that is.
I've literally been from the bottom up. So
Yep.
like I know if I tell someone to do something or I see somebody doing something, I know exactly where they're at. I used to wake up wondering what kind of fucked up shit I was gonna do that day. Like that's the truth. Like, do I really want to make another day out here?
What kind of kid were you? Did you graduate high school or go to college?
I got to 10th grade.
Okay.
3 days into 10th grade and I dropped out.
Yeah.
Then what'd you do? What was your first job?
My grandpa, he was in the oil field, so I went to work for him.
Blue collar.
There it is. See, yep.
Yeah.
Once again.
He found out I dropped out and he came in my room one morning and said, you got two options, you either go to work or you're going back to school. And I said, well, you better give me a pair of boots and a hard hat because I ain't going back to fucking school. So I started out doing grunt work for him. And then by the time I was 17, 18, I was almost running jobs for him, so, but then when I went offshore, I had to start right back at the bottom because that's how it is, So it is all different world out there. It's all different. I mean, it's the same concept. It's just a lot larger scale.
Yeah. Crazy. Are you from Texas?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Born and raised?
Right here.
Wow. Okay. So I'm sure you have a lot of connects now, being that you're from there.
Yeah. Yeah. We go into town or anywhere, it's crazy. Like we know just about everybody, at least within our 100-mile radius of our town or our home. It's like we know everybody where we go, or but in the oil field especially, like I know, golly, I can't even tell you how many people. I know a lot of people. Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, you have to. If you're a consultant for these massive corporations, you have to know people now.
Yeah. It's honestly, man, it's like I've got a pretty work, and honestly, I've never even really had to use them, to be honest. I think that's the most common thing, on my social medias, is people with messages wanting to get in the oil field or asking for jobs or this or that, that is probably the number one. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've seen on your TikTok that you put a lot of comments up that is, how do I get into this, this industry? How do I get into the oil field?
I told Courtney the other day, I was like, we need to start a staffing firm, because I've helped so many people get jobs, legit, truly try to help people, because it is hard if you don't know somebody, you all got to start somewhere, right? And everything goes full circle. So, the more you help people and be a better person about it, the more good things are going to happen to you as well, right?
Good karma.
And yes, and that's one thing I cannot stand. You get on Facebook and you get on these oil field forums and guys are legitimately trying to get in the oil field or look for jobs or whatever, and it's just nothing but just smart ass comments and this and that. I'm like, dude, you're just a hand yourself, bro. You need to just calm down. You were there at one time too,
That's what we were saying. It's so much competition out there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It couldn't be like that because y'all are working together to accomplish the same fucking thing.
Seems like people are just too busy trying to put each other down instead of work together these days, and it's in the same industry. Why are y'all going back and forth?
It's a pissing match.
Yeah, but it's funny, man, because I'll step in these forums and these comments and then nobody says shit to me because they know exactly who I am. I've had guys talk shit on my TikTok videos or whatever and show up the location and I'm like, yep. And I go and find out who these guys are and everything, because I know at some point in life they're going to show up locations, and it happens, and I love it.
That's hilarious.
It was crawfish. Nah, motherfucker.
Yeah. Now you're mine.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Put you right to work.
Yeah.
So you obviously have grown yourself from the bottom up. Do you want your boys to get into this?
No.
What are your dreams for them?
It's too far. Sorry, how should I put this? It's just too up and down now. There's no real stability to it. I mean, because it seems like every couple of years now we have a downfall, right? Where things just crash and go to shit, and then there's major layoffs and everything like that. And I don't really want them to live a life that's like this, like a roller coaster. You know, like I want them to have some stability and stuff, and I want them to have an actual life and not miss everything, because like I miss everything.
Yeah.
I mean, for the last 2 years, I've been home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, which was the first, and I can't tell you how long. So, like, I'd rather them just go get. I mean, I would like to see them get a trade job or whatever. That'd be great, but I'm not gonna stop them if that's what they want to do. They want to go get a piece of it. Let them go get a piece of it. But you know, I really don't want them to have to go through all the stuff that I have, man, and just like missed everything. You know, that's the hardest part, really. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only make so much money and you're still fucking miserable. You know, people are like, oh, I'll do anything for that kind of money, this and that.
You work your life away for that money.
No, basically, man, that's why they pay you. They know that you are literally sacrificing your life.
Yeah.
I used to tell him, at the end of the day, you know, please save some energy for us. And there was just no way. He'd be completely drained, have to go to bed immediately, and wake up for work, 5-6 hours later? Not even sometimes.
Yeah, my schedule is 1 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So by the time I got off, I came home, showered, ate dinner, hung out with the kids for like an hour, and then it was bed.
Dude.
I missed all my daughter when she was, our daughter now is 13. So her growing up in, elementary school and all that, I missed everything, the dances, all that.
And then even two years after you got hurt, you still missed everything.
Yeah, I missed everything because I was in recovery.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
4 years.
God gum, dude. What exactly happened? Fill me in.
So, most people that have watched this, I repeat this.
Yeah.
No.
I looked a little bit into it, man, but like I want to know the story.
So, I was a miner.
Okay.
I worked in a rock mine. We did, strip mining. The machines I worked on, drag line and stuff, they're all electric.
Right.
So they run off a 4160. And I was working on one of these machines, and where I was working, where the high voltage comes into.
Okay.
And then I woke up out of a coma in the hospital.
Didn't remember shit.
I remember nothing. That everybody asked me, what did it feel like?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Right.
I had no fucking clue. I just woke up and I told her, and I couldn't even talk because I had the trach in my throat.
Yeah.
So I woke up and she gave me a whiteboard, and how she could read anything I wrote down is beyond me, because I was so doped up. My mind had no clue where it was.
Yeah.
Trying to write, my fucking, the letters are not coming out right. But I told her, I was like, I have to go to work now, or I'm going to lose my job. She's like, you can't go to work. And I was like, I'm going to be fucking late. I have to get up and go.
He was so pissed. He's trying to rip stuff out, like going crazy.
Trying to pull shit out in the ICU, and they're like, you have been electrocuted. And I was like,
yeah. I don't know. I'd be the same way, man. Like, I'm like,
you sure? She was like, yeah, you should see yourself. And I was like, okay. But I took 4160 right here to the head, and it exited out my back of my neck. It burned. I mean, you can see that this is my original skin. It's hard
yeah.
the wrong way.
That's wild, man.
You see right? I don't know if I can get.
Yeah, you're pointing to it. You're good. You're good.
Can you see it move?
Yeah.
That's his brain.
That's a hole in my skull.
Come on, man.
So it wasn't like that when I came out of the hospital.
Yeah.
It was, my skull was fully intact. Well, about a year out of the hospital, that part that got hit with the electricity absorbed itself, just disappeared.
Like disintegrated.
And then one day, so everything that's on my head is my lat muscle out of my left side of my back.
Oh, kidding.
Yeah. So everything, this was all skull. Like if you've seen some of the, I think I have one TikTok where you can see my skull.
Yeah.
So they took my lat muscle out and put it on my head. And I mean, when I came out of surgery, I finally was able to see myself in the mirror with the lat muscle on my head. I was pissed because I looked like a fucking alien. My head was like this big.
Massive.
And like she has a picture of me looking in the mirror and my face is just So pissed.
We were distraught. It was.
Excuse me. And I told the doctor, I said, "What is this?" They're like, "That's your muscle out of your back." And I was like, "Yeah. So what's happening with it? This is how I'm going to look for the rest of my life." They're like, "No, no, 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 no. Your muscle, when you don't use your muscles, they shrink down."
Sorry.
So he said it'll all shrink down. You have to give it. It'll take maybe a couple years.
Yeah.
It only took like 6 months.
Dang.
It came down to this.
Yeah.
But then the skull absorbed itself.
Then we noticed that, and I was like, "Oh, maybe it's the pulse in the muscle."
Right.
So I went to the doctor and my plastic surgeon. She was like, "That's a hole in your skull." So that was great.
Fun.
Yep.
That's
So I have a piece I put in my hats, my baseball caps, that you don't even know it.
Yeah.
It protects my whole head. You don't even, just slips into every hat I have.
Dang, that's wild, man. Do you still have to go through like any kind of like rehabilitation or anything?
So if I want to fix this hole,
Yeah.
I have to go to Arizona, live in Arizona for about a year. They will take balloons. They insert balloons into my back. They blow your back up and stretch all that skin. Then they cut that skin off, and then they put it on your head. Then they peel all this up, rip this off, put a prosthetic in, put it all down.
So it's like 5 surgeries within a year span.
Is it worth it though, you think?
Not yet.
The one thing that really threw me off, and when he said this, me and her both looked at each other, and I was like, "What?" Is that he said, "So the skin from your back has a lot of fat cells in it, and once we put that on your head, if you go on an eating binge and you gain weight, your head will gain weight too." And I was like, "You mean to tell me
Oh shoot.
that if I want to go eat fucking buffet, I'm gonna walk out and my head's gonna be 10 pounds?"
You need to
Yeah,
relax.
I said no. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll wait.
Yeah. That sounds, dude, I've never heard of that. That's wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When they put just the skull alone,
Yeah.
they did burr holes in it. That was wild. I was like, because I was standing there talking,
With his skull
my
completely
skull
visible.
all out on both sides.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah, my doctor told me, he's like, "I've never seen anybody in this condition standing in front of me talking." He said, "Usually they're either dead or they're a vegetable."
Yeah.
He said,
Wow.
"How this is possible, I don't know."
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So another fun thing is this man used to never get sick, ever. And this just completely shot his immune system.
It's like
Unreal.
everything our kid brings home, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
I think it's like whenever you work like we do, or like in like gritty jobs, it's like you like build up such a big immune system that, you know, the hardly.
Yeah, all the acetylene off the torches, all the grease that you inhale, all the smoke, everything. Oh yeah.
But like when I get sick, man, I go down hard. Like I get sick. You know, I'm sick. If I don't, you know, always like I have to go. I always have to be productive in doing something. Like every day, like Courtney gets probably pissed off at me because like I'm structured a certain way. Like every day, even when I'm home, like the first thing I do is like I eat breakfast and then I clean my house. Like I like vacuum and mop and do all my stuff and my countertops, make the bed.
Hey,
Then I go and do my day. I feel like,
do you have a cleaning consulting service that we can hook him up with?
God.
yeah, I'm like OCD as can be. Like I don't know what it is, but like I have to have everything in order before I can start my day. You know,
That's how I am.
that then there's something wrong with me. But I don't know. Like it's just being organized is like a big part of my life too, and like I always tell people that too. It's like being clean and organized is a big part of success for me. I mean, some people can be like the most disoriented person ever and be, you know, successful. But for me, it's like I have to know where everything is. Like I can, if somebody needs a document from like 2015, I know where it's at. Boom, I can pull it out. You know,
That's
like
awesome.
very structured and in order, and I don't know what it is. It's like I have a routine every day. If I don't do my routine, like my whole day's off.
That's me.
Yeah.
but I do agree. And I've also learned that if you put your shoes on first thing in the morning, you're also way more productive if you don't put your shoes on.
Like in my house too, like I have a pair of house shoes and I always have to wear shoes. Like it's a thing. I don't know what it is, but like I always have a pair of shoes on until I go to bed, whether like house shoes or tennis shoes or whatever, boots at work. I don't know what it is, but like I have to have them.
Yeah. So, I mean, you travel so much. What are some of your hobbies?
So I play guitar. I write and produce music too on the side. I've had a lot of success in that industry too. So like I'm actually like sitting in my recording studio right now. So
That's awesome.
Do that for fun too. We go fishing almost every day here. We live on like we have like a bunch of little ponds and lakes around the house. So we'll go bass fishing every evening whenever it cools down. So we do that when the weather permits. So if it's nice, we're probably doing that every day that I'm home. I like to play definitely with the kids. They're all into sports and stuff. So I try to be active and be involved in that too. So, I mean, I enjoy doing that stuff too. So, what else? I started an apparel line because of that. So, whenever I started kind of gaining some traction on TikTok, I kind of monetized off of that. And it's like, well, I'm going to try this and that. So that's another fun thing I enjoy doing too. You know, like I don't look at it as a profit or anything like that. I like just genuinely and like creating, you know, different designs and graphics and things that I want to wear and put them out there, you know? So, it's another thing. Yeah.
Do you make your stuff yourself or do you?
Yeah, I do everything myself, like 100%, like all my designs, logos, everything. We outsource some of the printing and the embroidery. But it's really been hard to find people that do quality work.
Yeah.
So OCD on everything, you know. I'm actually looking for somebody else now to start printing my shirts and my hats because the lady that we used for over a year now, like, went up astronomically on prices. We got the invoice and it was like almost outrageous. Like we do like prototype, like we'll like do a couple shirts at a time, right, and hats and see how we like them before we go into mass production with them. And I hand them out to friends or whoever. I'm like, hey, wear this, see if you get any compliments. How do you like this or whatever? And we like getting feedback from people and then incorporating that because, you know, at the end of the day, they're the one purchasing the product. So we take heavily into consideration. It's not just like, oh, this is my design, fuck you, wear it or not. You know, like I want people to wear it. So, you know, that's a couple like little prototypes here and there and give them out. And then, you know, maybe after a month we'll put them into final production. But like we ordered like 10 shirts and I think a dozen or two hats, and she tried to charge us like $800 something for them.
Jesus.
And we're like, negative. So of course I had to pay. I got to be the right person here, and you did purchase a product from somebody, so you've got to finalize it and pay it. But after that, we haven't been back since. So like I'm kind of like low on inventory right now because I got to find somebody to embroider hats and do shirts.
Yeah. I mean, teach your lady how to do it. Maybe she can do it.
Do anything for sure. We've actually talked about it too. I mean, I thought about getting an embroidery machine and, you know, press machines and all that. I mean, she could figure it out, no problem, like 100%. Like she's crafty like that. Like half the furniture in our house she's built from scratch.
Yeah, I YouTubed everything.
Yeah.
How to print, press, all of it.
Yeah,
She was amazing.
Yeah, we do all our own stuff. We just don't have anything. We don't do hats yet.
Yeah. That's
embroidered always looks better, and we don't have anybody to embroider yet.
The thing, like we were throwing out hats left and right because like her work was starting to go to shit. I mean, like I would send pictures of hats. I'm like, these are all going in the trash because like the attention to detail has gone way down. You know, like, I can't sell these. Like this D looks like a B. I can't. You know?
Yeah, that's your name on everything.
Yeah, actually.
How many shirts do we fuck up?
In the beginning.
Yeah, we did a lot in the beginning. When we first started, we'd get it down right, and you look at it, you're like, hell yeah, it looks awesome. You pick up the shirt, and you're like,
shit,
it's kind of twisted, and you're like, that's done. Next.
Yeah.
It took us a while to get the hang of it and the placement, and you really have to eyeball it and get it measured out.
There's actually a guy in Florida that I'm using right now. He's going to do a couple hats for me, a couple dozen hats I sent off to him. My buddy who owns Western Threads Hat Company, his name's JD. He's like, I look at him as a son because he's way younger than me. So like, and we always, almost a couple times a week, we'll have, good conversations and stuff, and he owns Western Threads Hat Company. Go check him out. Like super, super dope company. And like, probably it is crazy because I only trust like maybe a handful of people in my entire life. And he's probably one of them. And he's only 23 and he's running things right now. He just did a big festival over here in Bryan College Station. Who was playing? Some country guy, dadgummit. I don't really do a lot of country music, so I don't really know. Something Bryant is his last name, not Luke Bryant, or something.
Zach.
Yes, there you go. Yeah,
right.
I think so.
Zach Bryant.
They sold out like every hat they had, and he had thousands of hats and stuff. So he's doing really well too. So
oh damn,
y'all get a chance, check him out on TikTok or at a website too.
Yeah,
it's possible because he's a young entrepreneur and he's doing really well. So. But he actually is the one that gets his hats. We were using the same lady, and he was getting the same quality product back, which was shit. So he found a guy in Florida, so we're going to try it out. So actually, if it works out good, I'll let y'all guys know, and y'all can maybe
absolutely.
Y'all guys, yeah, he does quality work. I mean, I've seen some of the work he's done, and it's impeccable. So at least I can sell.
Very cool. Well, Brian, it was awesome to have you with us. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
Not really. I've enjoyed being on the podcast. That was awesome.
Well, hopefully we get to meet you in person one day.
If y'all guys ever need anything, y'all have my phone number. Please call me or text me anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're friends for life now.
Yep.
Y'all have a great day, guys.
Hey,
have a go.
And everybody, if you're watching, again, this is Brian from bluecollarstandardco.com. On TikTok, Brian_is_inked and Brothers Keeper Podcast. I will drop all the links. And yeah, Brian, thanks again.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
You too.
Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.